What is up, guys, and welcome to your no-nonsense guide on how to play Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, in Marvel Rivals. As usual, we'll go over all of her abilities and what they can do, and then how I would play her in a normal game. Starting us off with her Orb Protection, which is her damage dealing and her healing ability. Damage is 20 per hit with no damage fall off, and her healing is 40 per hit with a projectile speed of 120 meters a second and max distance of 30 meters. She has 10 ammo per clip, and her ability makes it so that she fires out and then the projectile returns to her. So it has a possibility of hitting twice for enemies and hitting twice for healing on allies as well. Next up is her Guardian Shield, which generates a force shield in front of a selected ally. This shield can block damage and provide healing over time to nearby allies. Enemies that pass through the shield are also slowed. It has a 50 per second healing rate and a range of a 3 meter radius. The slow rate for enemies is 30% and the slow duration is 3 seconds. And also the recovery of the shield's value per second is 50 and the overall cooldown when it's destroyed is 6 seconds. Sue Storm's next ability is Psionic Vortex, which gathers psionic energy and then casts it out. Upon hitting a target, seen, or pressing the ability button again, it erupts into a psionic vortex, continuously drawing enemies and causing damage. The projectile speed is 80 meters a second with a 5 meter radius, does 35 damage per second, and the spell lasts for 4 seconds. It also applies a slowing effect to enemies within the spell field, and the closer they are to the center, the greater the slowing effect. Next up is Force Physics, which manipulates psionic energy to push or pull enemies in front of her. She has a range of 12 meters on the push and a range of 7 meters on the pull. It does 55 damage when it hits an enemy or enemies and has a 8-second cooldown. Her next two abilities link into each other. You have Veiled Step, which allows her to generate a force field at her feet, and stepping on it propels her into an invisible state. This has a 6-second cooldown, and then this allows her to use Covert Advance, which, entering the invisible state for some time after engaging combat, grants her healing over time. This is a passive and gives her 20 healing per second to herself. Her final ability is Invisible Boundary, which manifests an unseen force field within a chosen area, rendering allies inside it undetectable by enemies and provides healing over time, and enemies that pass through the field are slowed. The passing through slow rate is 55% with a slow duration of 1 second, and the healing amount is 165 healing per second. It has a 10 meter radius and a 40 meter height and lasts for 8 seconds. Finally, we have a team up with Mr. Fantastic, which allows him to be granted a shield, which grants damage resistance and once activated can continually generate bonus health, making up for lost health. My first tip for playing Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman, is making sure that you know how to play her positioning wise. She is very, very strong when it comes to team fights and playing within your team. Yes, strategists are typically meant to be playing outside of combat and making sure that you're kept out of worry, but with this you want to be protecting your teammates with Psionic Force, pushing people away or pulling them in so that the tanks can finish them off, or pushing them away just in case they're going for the other healer. But also as well is because of that projectile ability of being able to send it out and it comes back, you're constantly going to be pushing out healing and damage at the same time. So being able to get stuck in and be in every fight comes in handy massively. Leading on from being able to know your positioning is also knowing when to leave a fight as well. Obviously, you shouldn't be getting in too many engagements. Yes, she can be strong with her pull and push ability and her damage, but you are a strategist. Your main job is to heal and to protect, so knowing when to use your Veiled Step and be able to get out of fights and be able just to vanish from a combat situation is really handy. She then gets the 20 healing per second back as well, so you can then go and retreat, heal, wait for another ally and go in, and the enemy will think it's just one person, but then you can appear and you'll be in there being able to catch them off guard. Helping your vanguards with shielding. This is another tip as well. You have the ability to be able to place down a shield. While it's not a strong one, it can get you out of some predicaments like this one here, where I can back the Strange up with an extra shield, which gives Strange a bit of time to be able to drop his shield and recharge it for another fight. So being able to know when to use your shield at the right time. Don't place it up in the sky for the flyers and the people flying about. Yes, that can come in handy sometimes, but it doesn't always work. You want to be putting it on the ground to help. Also, knowing when to use your ult as well. Your ult can be a definite aggressive opportunity of attacking for everyone, but at the same time being able to place your ult in choke points or on specific corners where the enemy team can't see you coming and don't know exactly where you are makes your ult very, very strong, and it slows them down when they walk in and also gives overhealing to your teammates as well. So making sure you place it when a lot of ults are going off can come in handy as well. And that was my no-nonsense guide on how to play Sue Storm, the Invisible Woman in Marvel Rivals. What do you think? Have you got any more tips that you can give the community on how to play her, or do you feel like I covered the basics for someone to be able to learn the Invisible Woman? Let me know down in the comments below. Also let me know who you want to learn next from one of my hero guides by dropping a comment as well. If you enjoyed the video, please make sure you drop it a like, and if you want to see more Marvel Rivals content, please make sure you drop a subscribe. Other than that, thank you very much for watching.